We'll be in the book, lesson number 13. And for those that don't have a book and want to really follow along, it'll be Isaiah chapter 61, verses 1 through 11. That's where we're going to begin. So we're going to be continuing our study we've been doing in Isaiah about the Israelites returning back home. This is what was happening here, that the Lord was going to be with them and everything. And the title of the lesson, Rebuilding the Ruins. Before we get started, ruins, would anyone volunteer to give me a definition of ruins? You know, something that's been ruined.
Maybe a place that's been built but has befallen some kind of natural disaster or something like that.
Okay, good. Brother Bob?
Like she was saying, somewhere's been destroyed.
Right. It's those are good definitions. You know, studying in the Bible, dictionary, looking up those definitions, it mentions several things, but I think that's one of the better ways you can describe it. They talk about financial hardships and all this stuff here. So, but what we're talking about, that fit the better definition. Destroyed, ruined, and everything. So, and this is what we're going to be studying about them. Isaiah, the prophet, is going to be letting them know that what the Lord is going to require of them and what the Lord is going to do for them. And we've been studying this for the last couple of months about Israel and how that they have been in captivity and came out, Lord bringing them out, and how He's going to make things better for them. Verse 1 says in that chapter, "The Spirit of the Lord God is upon me, because the Lord has anointed me to preach good tidings to the poor. He has sent me to heal the broken heart, to proclaim liberty to the captive, and opening of the prison of those who are bound." So, and here we're talking about His people. Isaiah said that he was sent to proclaim the word of God to them, and to preach good tidings, good news. He bringing good news. They have been in captivity. Okay, I'm bringing good news to you, according to the Lord. He has sent me to do this for you. And so He's gonna open, we know that they have been in bondage. He can open the prisons and let them go. And so, if you know that anyone has been locked up and they get a chance to get out, they'd be glad to come out. And so, the Israelites are very glad at this time because they have been in captivity for a long time, and because they had caused it themselves. And the Lord had several times they keep reaching His hand out to them, trying to help them and everything, but they wanted to be like nations around them, and so that's why they was in this situation. Verse 2, "To proclaim the acceptable year of the Lord, and the day of vengeance of our God, to comfort all who mourn." And he going on this year to proclaim the year what he's talking about, that the Lord was going to give them vengeance. Vengeance means that Lord going to recompense, reward to whoever it need to go to. He said, "Vengeance belongs to me." The Lord said that, a lot of time when I was coming up, vengeance belonged to you. I'm going to get you back, whatever. But the Lord don't want us to do that. And that's the way the world is today sometimes. They will try to get you back if you have done something or something that happened. But vengeance belongs to the Lord. And the Lord letting His people know the things that they have went through Isaiah, preaching and teaching them that vengeance can belong to me. All those nations that misused you and mistreated you harshly, vengeance to me, I'm going to reward them for what they are doing. Also, I'm going to reward you for what you're doing also. So let us keep that in mind too. So, and they have been in captivity because of their sin. And the Lord saying, well, hey, look, I'm with you. I'm on your side. I'm going to bring you out. I'm going to repay those. And also, you know, you went through a lot of turmoil and everything because of what you've done, and I'm going to be with you because you are my chosen people. And I still love you, and I'm going to help you all I can. Will someone, if you mind, read verses 3 and 4 for me, please?
To console those who mourn in Zion, to give them beauty for ashes, the oil of joy for mourning, the garment of praise for the spirit of heaviness, that they may be called trees of righteousness, the planting of the Lord, that he may be glorified. And they shall rebuild the old ruins, they shall raise up former desolations, and they shall repair the ruined cities, the desolations of many generations.
Okay. Verse 3, he still to console those who mourn. How you going to console somebody? Anybody want to be, I don't want to do all the talking. If someone, we know we got children or whatever, something happened and they crying, what you going to do?
Be there for them.
That's right. You're going to pick them up, pet them, whatever. And the Lord is taking on his people. He going to say, well, he said, I'm going to console you. I know that you're mourning. I know that you had hard times, trouble. In other words, he putting his arm around and let them know it's okay. I'm going to take care of you. And even though you done wrong, I still love you. And I'm going to help you. And that's what he's doing here. To give beauty for ashes. We know when something burn up, especially wood or rubber, whatever, you have ashes left. And when something, and he said he going to make beauty, it ain't going to be a hill of ashes, he going to make it beautified and make it look good. It ain't going to be nothing that look bad or whatever. He going to turn it around as a sin. Well, whatever was bad, he's going to make it good. And as always, as I teach, if we have any question or comment, that feel free. Raise your hand. You can make a comment or question or add to it or correct me if I'm wrong. That'll be good also. Okay, Brother Kyle.
That says a lot to make beauty of ashes when there's a definition of ruin for you. When something has been turned to ash, it's totally destroyed, it's wasted, but he's going to turn that around, and make it something they want. Moreover, something more that they need.
That's right. Okay. The oil of joy for mourning. In other words, he gonna nut them with oil. Since you're mourning, you're feeble, you're hurting. He gonna nut you. The garment of praise for spiritual heaviness, and so whatever you got burdens. He gonna help. Whatever, he gonna lift your burden. What he telling these Israelites, I'm gonna lift your burden. Sometimes, people go through things and really, in a sense, can't nobody help them but God. We could be there for all the comfort and good words or whatever, but it rely between them and God to get over things, And it's good to have people, I would say friends, or somebody just come by and a kind word, or sometimes they don't have to say nothing. Just come by and sit. And it make a big difference. Okay? And he goes on to talk about that they may be called trees of righteousness, or he gonna root them down. We know how a tree stand tall and everything, and rooted deep, and they're gonna be solid. A tree of righteousness in it that others could look up and see them. But and notice that what the Lord brought them through, and the Lord made them this way because they know where they were. And we see people sometimes, like I've known. I'm gonna just use the illustration. It might not be a good one, but I've known drug addicts that have been on drugs on the street doing anything and everything, and And I said the act of God. They said he went to these sinners and turned around, but I said the act of God, and they turned their life around. Well, God turned their life around because they wanted to do it, go through these things. And now people look upon him and say, well, look, he ain't the same person, she's not the same person that he or she used to be. She's different now. And they look at him, he's rooted, he's solid, he's a better person now. And so that's how the Lord wanted the other nation to look at his people after he got finished dealing with them. Okay. The planning of the Lord, he may be glorified. So when everything come through, the Lord going to be glorified through it. And that in our life, things that we achieve, that the Lord let us achieve or able us to achieve, it's because of him, not just so much of us, but you got to have something in you yourself also. Some people don't like to say this, but the Lord look at you. He give you a choice. If you want to sit there like a lump on a log, you just sit there. We got a choice. And if you want to do anything, you get out and work hard and achieve what you want to achieve. The Lord will help you. And so a lot is up to us. We know the Lord can do anything. He don't need none of us really. He can make rocks to worship him. He can make whatever he wants. He don't need us, but we need him. We can't do nothing without him at all when it comes down to it. Okay. Strangers, and I'm skipping. Okay. And the ruins shall rebuild the old ruins. And they shall rebuild the old ruins. So, old word, as reading before I got into this chapter, the Lord going to use the other nation that had his people in bondage. When he get them set on their feet, they're going to be workers for them. He going to use them to help them rebuild their cities and everything. And so it's amazing if you go back and read this, in which it's going to say it in this chapter here, but the previous chapter talks about it a whole lot, how he's going to use those nations that use them and abuse them. They're going to be now workers under his people, which that's the way he intended for it to be in the beginning, but they messed it up. Okay, so they shall raise up the former desolation. So that's all the things that they had been destroyed. He's going to turn around and going to make it inhabit again, make it good, and they shall repair the ruined cities, the desolations of many generations. Even they're going to repair what had happened in the former generation, that they're going to see going to be a change. A lot of the younger people were babes or weren't even born when they went into captivity. Now, you look after about 70 years, a lot of things change in about 70 years. And so, if you can look back, I'm in my 50s, I have saw a lot of changes in these 56 years. I would say really about, I'll say a good 40 years, 35 years, because I was too young to know about it other than back then. But the last 30 years, so I saw a lot of change in people's life, my life, the city of Columbus, and everything. How people relate to one another and everything. A lot of things change. You just look back over time. There's a lot of changes. And this how the Lord looking at his people back then. Okay, verses 5. Strangers shall stand and feed your flock, and the sons of the foreigners shall be your plowmen and your vineyard dressers. Now, I was looking at Brother Joe back there. I was about to start laughing when I mentioned about the plowing. I don't know if he knows much about plowing, putting his hand to a plow. I think Terry knows something about it. I know most of the young people don't know nothing about that. But I had the experience of learning how to plow and did it. I didn't do a whole lot, but I know enough more than I want to know about it. So,
you wanted somebody else to do it.
Yeah.
And that's what they're saying here. God's going to take the people that have been oppressing them,
yeah,
and they're going to do it for them from now on.
That's right. So, that hard labor, physical labor, they weren't going to have to do it. Somebody else going to do it. They're going to dress their vineyard, keep their vineyard for them and everything. Okay, verses 6. But you shall be named the priests of the Lord. They shall call you the servants of our God. Ye shall eat riches of the Gentiles, and in their glory you shall boast. The people that was using you, now working for you, you shall boast of that. You know, the Lord said here, you know, that's the way He made it that way. You do right, I'll return you. Which, you know, the Lord always kept a remnant of His people. He let a lot of them get killed and everything, but He was not going to destroy the Israelite totally, because He wanted to keep a remnant always, because He had made a promise to them. I think we studied about that last week. He has promised them what He's going to do. And the Lord always keep His promise. It might be seem like sometimes it's not going to work out that way, but it always work out just the way the Lord says it's going to work out. You know, we might not think that way in our lives too. If we keep His promise and do what He asked us to do, it'll work out the same way. Well, someone else, if you mind, would read verses 7 and 8, please.
Instead of your shame, you shall have double honor. And instead of confusion, they shall rejoice in their portion. Therefore, in their land, they shall possess double. Everlasting joy shall be theirs. For I, the Lord, love justice. I hate robbery for burnt offering. I will direct their work in truth and will make them an everlasting covenant. Okay, good. Back up to verse 7. Instead of shame, I have doubled your honor. Now, when they was in captivity, you know, a lot of people be shamed. The Lord said, instead of you being shamed, I'm going to make you have double. You know, the only thing that I can come to my mind about this right now, Job, you know, after all he went through, the Lord turned around and doubled. We know he was one of the wealthy man it was, and he lost it. People talked about him, scandalized him, and said, you must have been sin and all this for this to come up on you. But we know the story. Satan wanted to test him. Told God if he take his own way around him, he'll make him curse him to his face and he'll die. But anyway, back to where we at now. The Lord people going to have double from what they had in the beginning. Israel, because they had came back to him and he had made a promise to them. And you know, all the time, things not going to go easy for you in your life. Me, you, and everybody. You're going to have some up and down. But if you stay right with God, He'll always make it better for you if you stay with Him. So His people didn't have to be shamed anymore. And you know, sometimes we get shamed when if we done something wrong and everybody find out about it, or some of our children or family member. It's a shameful thing sometimes. But the Lord said, you're going to be double. He's going to give them a double honor, portion. Okay, goes on and he says that instead of confusion, they shall rejoice in their portion. They're going to be glad. Therefore, in their land they shall possess double, everlasting joy shall be theirs. Now, you know, when you went through all kind of turmoil and trouble and everything, a lot of times when you're going through things, you wonder, is it worth what I got to put up with? I'm going through. But if you hang in there, it's well worth it. You know, I look at it, we have several people that graduated from college and everything, and I know my daughter, she finished, and she was saying, Dad, I'm going to tell you the truth. It ain't worth going through all this. You know what I'm saying? But once she finished everything, that turned around. You know, because one time she quit. She said, I schooled for 2 years. She thought, I'm just tired of going to school. I don't want to go to school no more. And all of a sudden, I said, why you want to quit? You went to school 4 years, and you said you want to quit.
Well, it was about 3.5 years. Well, I'm just tired of it. I'm just tired, So
Go out there and get a job, see how tired you are.
she found out. she found out working these jobs she don't like to work and don't want to work. So she went back and finished. But when you're going through things, sometimes it might not seem the easy of what you had to put up with, but you just hang in there. It'll be worth it all. I bet you Colin several times he wanna, I got to get up and go to class now. I got to do this. I got to stay up all night to get this report or whatever.
You go to work, too.
Yeah.
I have a crazy illustration about this whole double. I can't get it out of my head, but I can. Or it keeps on popping in because now that Corbin's here, it's always milk. I want milk. I have some milk. And then he discovered that we could put chocolate in. We used to buy milk 1 gallon at a time. And when you got low, you went and bought another gallon of milk. Now we buy 2 gallons at a time. The thing is, when we run out of the first gallon, open up the fridge and there's another gallon. We're never out of milk because we always buy 2 gallons of milk. So that's what I'm thinking of. Their portion is double. They already had, he already promised them that they were going to get everything that they could possibly need, and now he's saying he's going to double it. Mm-hmm. So they're going to be covered, taken care of.
Yeah. Well, they're going to be well blessed.
Yeah.
And some of us don't realize how blessed we are at times, And sometimes the old saying, you look at another person or walk a mile on another person's shoe, you'll be so thankful that you are blessed the way you are. And, and I have saw people that you would just be amazed. You see them out, you work with them and stuff like that. If you go home with them and see things, what they going through or what they put up with, you wonder how they do it.
And one of the things that I think about here, the Israelites and as God's people, they thought of blessings and things in a much longer span than we do, or God thinks of it.
Right.
I mean, Colin and Heather, you, Terry and I, we're here and we're doing our praise in our church, what we should be doing here. But they thought of it as doing for that next generation or that next generation. And if we can get that thought, Corbin is going to get blessings because Colin did the right thing.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things that we have to look at is the way that they look at it.
Mm-hmm. It all started with the foreparents, and they set the trend, as you might say, and if they raise up the children the way that they should go, the Bible said they won't depart from it. They said it didn't say that they won't sin or fall short sometimes, but a lot of people get that confused. But it started with the parents, and God was Israel's parent, you might say, and He gave them all the statutes, the laws, and everything, and told them what they should do and what they should not do. But they said, Dad, I'm going to try this and I'm going to try that, and they end up going through a lot of turmoil and everything, but it's just like a loving parent. He always standing with the hand stretched out. If your child is rebellion and he decides he want to do right, you always going to say, come on back. I'll help you. Whatever. You might not can live with him, but I'll find a place for you to stay. I'll help you pay for this. I'll help you do this. So I believe that a lot of y'all snickered when I said that, but sometimes you have to do that. But and the Lord always, like I say, keep His hand out for His own, and He gonna make sure they got what they need. Maybe not what they want all the time, but the Lord people always were blessed as long as they did what He asked them to do. They had plenty. Okay. Verse 8. For I, the Lord, love justice. Justice, what that mean? Anybody? Fair, righteous. He gonna be righteous. He gonna treat you fair. I hate robbery for burnt offering. So they was robbing them and burnt offering over what they weren't doing right. It's plain simple. I will direct their work in truth and will make with them an everlasting covenant. So, the Lord always kept saying that He's going to make a covenant with His people. All through the Bible you read, especially back in the Old Testament, you can just see that all the time where He talked about that. And the Israelite was His people. He always said He's going to make a covenant with them. And so He did. Verse 9. Their descendants shall be known among the Gentiles, and their offspring among the people. And who see them shall acknowledge them that they are the prosperous whom the Lord has blessed. So everywhere they descended, that means the people young come up after them, they're going to be known among the Gentiles of their offspring. Just like Terry, Dorothy got children, people see Lee and Jim, they got to know that that's Terry and Dorothy children. Miss Johnson, they see her, they got to know me, offspring. So everybody, when you do things and stuff, you do right and you live right, people going to know who is who. They going to know what family is tied up with what family. You believe now, all you got to do is ask, oh yeah, that's Miss Johnson's son, that's her daughter. Yeah, he live over here. Yeah, but I know him. He was raised down here. I know him. You going to be known. Going on and verse with that verse, all going to acknowledge them, and they going to know that they were blessed through the Lord. He's talking about His people. Verse 10, I will greatly rejoice in the Lord. My soul shall be joyful in my God, for He has clothed me with garments of salvation. He has Himself with ornament, and as a bride adore herself with her jewelry. So, jewelry. He continued to talk about how the Lord going to be gracious towards His people, and they're going to be made joyful in the Lord. How He's going to cover them up with clothes, great garments, and of salvation. That they're going to prosper and cover them with robe of righteousness, and as I think that's good. As a bridegroom decked himself with ornament. Okay. So we talk about a marriage at the end. You know how when you get ready to get married, getting ready to get up before you get married, the groom get himself all ready, decked out, and all this fancy stuff, and the bride also get herself ready, put on everything she want to do, glamorous and look good for that day. So that's what the Lord saying He's going to do for His people. Verse 11, for as the earth bring forth its bud, as the garden causes the things that are sown in it to spring forth, so the Lord God will cause righteousness and praise to spring up before all the nations. So, and that's as plain about it can get. He used planting as the illustration how you plant something and how it come up, and you put in a garden and it bring forth whatever fruit you plant. It's gonna bring forth that kind of fruit. If I plant purple peas, it's not gonna okra not finna come up. So it's different. And it's going on saying, and the Lord He's gonna cause it to grow. He's gonna cause it to do it. And it's gonna be before all nations that they was gonna know that. So whatever the Lord do, and if we follow Him, if you as a good person, you live in a Christian life, who the people gonna say caused this? Where did you get this from? The Lord. They might say you pay them because they are good people, righteous, but who do they get it from? The Lord. The bottom line, it goes back to the Lord, because He the one teaches this, and He the one calls it. If you obey Him, everything that's been put out there, all we got to do is follow. I'm not saying it's going to be easy all the time, but it's there for us. Okay? Any question or comment on any of this so far that we went over? All right, we are time for me. We're going to go into chapter 62. Not but a few verses. For Zion's sake, I will not hold my peace, and for Jerusalem's sake, I will not rest until her righteousness goes forth as brightness, and her salvation as a lamp that burns. The Lord said He was not, in a sense, He said that He was not going to rest until this happened. No, He had said it was going to happen all the time. Now it's at hand. In other words, He's been talking about it. It's at hand. And Zion, talks about a place where they used to worship and everything back in Jerusalem, and they were going to go back there. Not only just that, but in that place they had altars, and the Israelites going to be able to go back there, and they're going to be able to worship God like they started in the beginning. And He said He was not going to rest until it happened. And so the salvation was going to be like a lamp that burns, like a light. You see a lamp, you can see it far off. You can stand far off and see it, especially at night. And the Lord can have it so that you can look and know that the Lord work will have been in process, and now it got back and you can see it. And the Lord people are going to be like a light, and He was going to make it that way. Verse 2, the Gentiles shall see your righteousness, and all the kings your glory. Ye shall be called by a new name, which the mouth of the Lord will name. So the Lord's going to call these people by name. He's going to give them a name, and they're going to be called a different name. So verse 3, ye shall also be a crown of glory in the land of the Lord, and the royal, now I'm going to be honest, diadem. How you pronounce that? Diadem? Okay. And in the hand of your God. So He was letting them know, hey, look, you're going to be royal. And you're going to be, that everybody look at you because you obeyed the Lord, and the Lord will raise you up. Okay. And getting ready to close, will someone read those last two verses for me?
You shall no longer be termed forsaken, nor shall your land any more be termed desolate. But you shall be called Hephzibah in the land of Beulah, for the Lord delights in you, and your land shall be married. For as a young man marries a virgin, so shall your sons marry you, and as the bridegroom rejoices over the bride, so shall your God rejoice over you.
The Lord shall no longer term ye forsaken. They have been called forsaken because they had left the Lord. The Lord didn't leave them, they left the Lord when they started worshiping those idols and wanted to do like all these other nations around, and the Lord said He won't dwell in an unclean place, and He said that you should have no other God before me. And it was like a slap in the face when they turned and started worshiping those idols and stuff, like idol gods and stuff. And they really knew there was no other God anyway. But sometimes this facts of life, people get caught up and they want to do what other people do around them and everything. And that's what happened to Israel. And they slipped and got and almost lost a great lifestyle and promises because of sin. And no more that their land was going to be turned desolate. Term is a name that's given to something. And everything had been torn down and burned up when those other nations came in and took over the Israelite inhabitants where they was living. They burnt down their altars, they burnt down everything. That's just totally destroyed. And it was left a desolate place. And it was going to be called that no more. And now those two names that Heather mentioned, I'm not going to try to pronounce them because it goes on to tell what the Lord say for the Lord delight in you. He's going to give them a new name, and that's what their name going to be called. So, okay.
So many times the prophets were getting on to them because they needed it and deserved it and did wrong. But imagine how they felt after hearing all of this, that God is going to restore them and double restore everything. I mean, it's just it'd be such a blessing because even our earthly fathers, dads, when they get mad at us and then they wouldn't be mad, we would feel so good about that.
Yeah.
And they know that they have not been rejected. They have rejected God, like you said.
It's a joyful thing. Any time that I would say that you know that you're done wrong, you don't deserve it, and they still got the hand reaching out, so I help you. All I want you to do is come back and do right. And that's what the Lord was saying about the people. All I want you to do is come back and do right. That's all I want you to do. And like the prodigal son, his dad didn't even fuss at him when he come back. He just stole a big party for him. You went off, he didn't mouth him or nothing like that. The Lord do us the same way. All he asks us to get up and repent. Whether I like it or anybody else like it, that's all you got to do. You'll be right with God.